Good morning. This is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. As far as fire potential impacts go for the next couple of days, we have quite a few things going on, starting with today. We have increasing moisture coming up into Utah and more especially moving into Nevada along the Sierra Front or just east of the Sierra Front up into north central Nevada throughout the day today. Tomorrow, those storms continue, actually, they'll continue to move northward overnight, possibly some overnight or early morning hours, thunderstorms possible into western Idaho, and then some of the storms in Utah and eastern Nevada moisten up on Wednesday, with more widespread coverage up north as well. And we have some strong winds moving into western Nevada tomorrow. Those winds move further eastward throughout the basin on Thursday, with some those really strong winds continuing up in the upper Snake River Plain, although the relative humidity is slightly higher there. And then on Thursday, drying moving into western Nevada, but continued thunderstorm activity over much of Idaho and into central and eastern Utah. Yesterday, we did see some thunderstorm activity, mainly over eastern Utah, the Arizona Strip, and then we just saw a few storms here over southwest Nevada. Recent fire activity is shown here with 8 new fires for 9.5 acres in the last 24 hours. Observed precipitation is shown here for the past 14 days. It's been pretty dry, especially over Nevada and portions of southern Idaho. We have seen some recent storms over central and eastern Utah that have decreased fire danger there just a bit, but still very dry, especially over Nevada. ERCs we can see have come down over the last few days, or for 4 or 5 days anyway, over central and eastern Utah, but they're starting to come back up again with some of the very hot and dry weather that we've had recently. Over kind of eastern Nevada, western Utah, those values are really high, and then up into central and eastern Idaho and western Wyoming as well. So some pretty high ERCs out there right now with the really hot and dry conditions, especially across the north and west. Taking a closer look at some of these areas, northwest Utah today is above the 90th percentile, quite a bit above normal for the time of year, but just shy of historical records. Those values should come down with the green line over the next couple of days with some moisture moving in, but still remaining high. Further south over far southern Nevada, those values are right around average for the time of year, and we'll see them decreasing just a bit with some moisture moving in. Okay, this morning's satellite imagery's got a couple things going on. First, our high pressure located to our south, kind of centered over the southern Great Basin and Arizona area, keeping temperatures very hot across the area. And then we have this low pressure trough off the Pacific coast that's really will help to draw moisture up into the Great Basin, especially over the next couple of days as it moves in. But for today, we are seeing a little bit of an increase, and most notably some moisture moving into west central Nevada here for some thunderstorm activity there. Okay, so again, looking at that moisture, high pressure ridge over just south of the Four Corners area, allowing moisture to move up. And then as this low moves closer to the coast, moisture being drawn up into western Idaho. We do have high risk today for a couple of PSAs for those fast-moving storms, kind of a mix of wet and dry, but certainly a critical situation with the dryness that's been in place there recently. A closer look at probability of precip here. Again, looking mainly at higher elevations of Utah and the Arizona Strip, and then this area over western Nevada. Very hot temperatures again today, maybe backing off a little bit from yesterday's highs, but still very warm. On Wednesday, the low moves inland, and that causes things to really ramp up here. So we have winds moving into western Nevada ahead of that trough, dry gusty winds, and then as those winds move in and that low moves in, the moisture is going to be pushed a little bit further northward into Idaho. We do have one high risk for some dry storms in southwest Idaho tomorrow. These storms may start tonight, overnight, or may start really early on Wednesday morning there. And then also some storminess in place over the central and eastern portions of the Great Basin. So winds tomorrow, pretty gusty along the Sierra Front in western Nevada, even up the upper Snake River Plain. Gusts here 30-35 miles an hour possible. And then the probability of precip shown here on the right, looking for a good chance of a thunderstorm pretty much anywhere in Idaho, Wyoming, much of Utah, eastern Idaho, or eastern Nevada. But we're most worried about those drier storms moving into southwest Idaho early in the morning on Wednesday. On Thursday, the low continues to track along the Canadian border here, causing winds to increase over a little bit further east into the basin. So we have high risk for northeast Nevada and northwest Utah for those gusty winds. Still very strong winds in the upper Snake River Plain, but the fuels aren't quite as critical there yet. And storminess will continue in those areas. Okay, so the afternoon wind gusts shown here, very windy across the upper Snake River Plain and western Wyoming. Stronger gusts also over eastern Nevada and much of western Utah. So pretty gusty everywhere on Thursday, actually. Probably the precip is shown here on the right. Again, another stormy day across the higher elevations of much of the Great Basin, including eastern Nevada, but dry into western Nevada. 3-day precip totals are shown here. So we do have this moisture coming into Nevada today. Most of this moisture is going to be Wednesday and Thursday for Utah and Idaho, however. Friday, things dry out. Still remaining warm, but we're kind of in between two systems on Friday, no high risk. On Saturday, another trough moving into the Pacific Northwest should increase winds. We'll probably end up putting some high risk out for some of these winds on Saturday ahead of that next storm. Some moisture moving into the north again with this one. And then by Sunday, the trough quickly moves eastward, actually bringing a pretty good cold front or cool front into much of the Great Basin for cooler temperatures, highs back into the 80s possible across the northern portions of the region. So pretty good little cool down coming for the weekend and some additional shot of moisture to the north. And then dry back into the first of next week. The 7-day totals don't change much in the extended period, but we do see an increased chance for some higher precipitation with that next trough Saturday into Sunday. And the extended forecast, July 2nd through the 8th, keeps things warm over Nevada and Utah. Dry also over Idaho and Nevada, but we continue to expect that monsoonal moisture to remain coming up into Utah and the very southern tip of Nevada. And that concludes today's briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.